Welcome back to our K-swapped CRV, where we are one step away from driving it off the hoist and onto the dyno. But as you're about to see, we've just hit our biggest hurdle yet.
Before we can put fluid in the transmission, we of course need to put in axles. And for that, we are using these Hasport axles. And these are not your standard K-swap axles. These are actually specific to the CRV with a K-swap. They need to be a little bit longer than normal K-swap axles. So thank you, Brian, and everyone at Hasport for putting these together for us. Well, we've run into a bit of an unexpected problem here, and that is that the Hasport axles are touching on the front fork here on the lower shock fork. We did swap the fork from left to right to see if that would add clearance, but we're still fouling on there pretty badly. So this is a big problem. We don't know what the solution is, so we need to talk to Brian at Hasport at this point and try to figure out what solution we might have available to us. So we're gonna move on to addressing the brakes. We have a sticky front caliper on the CRV here, and to fix that, we are gonna swap in some brand new ones. And by brand new, I mean actually brand new. These are not rebuilt cores. These are from Pro Series, and they're actually manufacturing brand new calipers. So everything on here is brand new, and they are built to OE specifications, so you know they're gonna last a long time.
So threw the bumper back on here because we are doing one cosmetic mod, and I'm not even sure about it, but the go-to for front lips for the RD1 CRV is this Jeep Cherokee front lip. And everybody loves this one. However, I'm not a huge fan of trying to like retrofit lips to bumpers that they're not designed for. But we're gonna give this a try and see, because from the internet standpoint, they do seem to fit very well, and I don't know, they have a decent look, so I'm not sold on it, but let's get started and see what this looks like. Well, that came to a grinding halt very quickly, and I know if you guys look at this through the camera, it looks like the fitment isn't all that bad. However, there is a gap here. The way to mount this is really difficult. Like, I just snapped this, but usually I think I would have to like cut a hole in this bumper to slide it through and try to mount it that way. But I'm just looking at this, and as I thought from the beginning, it's just not going to line up the way I want it to. We would still have to do a little bit of trimming here to make this look good, which I don't think is a big deal, but I just don't think the gap, I'm gonna be happy with the gaps that are here and the way this is gonna sit, like it's gonna look like that. So if you're going for a front lip look from 5-6 feet, that's gonna look good, then this is for you. But for me and my OCD and the way I want this to fit up, I just don't think it's gonna work. So this is gonna be going into the bin, sadly. And this time around for wheels, I've gone with something a little bit cleaner, a little bit more OE-esque with a silver Koenig Eris, but we have upsized these wheels to an 18x8 size. So this is bigger than we've gone on this vehicle in the past. We were sticking with 17s before. These, of course, are flow formed, so they're gonna be nice and strong, but also lightweight. and they have just a bit of concave, which I like. And this being in plus 40 offset, perfect for Hondas. Usually you'd think the face would be perfectly flat, but we get just enough concave where I think this is gonna look awesome. And for tires, we have gone with Continental's new Secure Contact AW. So this is a full all-weather tire, meaning you can run it 4 seasons long. And because my brother intends to use this in the winter as well, this is going to be the ideal tire setup for him, where he doesn't have to change the wheels out come winter. He's just gonna be able to run this one setup on it. And these are a 700 treadwear rating, so they're going to last you a very long time. A nice little touch that Koenig is doing, they are now supplying hub-centric rings for your wheels that are specific to your application. So these are now going to center the wheel on the hub, which is ideal to get rid of any sort of vibration and make sure that the wheel is sitting perfectly on the hub. And for those of you wondering what the difference between an all-weather and an all-season tire is, the all-weather tire will have performance that is very close to a dedicated winter tire. However, the compound won't overheat in the summer like a winter tire would. So it's pretty much an ideal tire for anybody living in the snow belt area that's pretty mild, and you don't really experience a lot of icy conditions, which is where I think a winter tire would shine a little bit better than something like this. But for the most of us, this will be our go-to year-round tire. Well, what do you guys think? This look certainly I think is subtle, but with the 18s, it fills out the wheel well quite significantly. And I do love the silver multi-spoke design of these Koenig wheels. It's just OEM Plus-esque. Now, we do have a little bit of work to do up front here where these wheels and tires are sticking out a bit, but that is because we have not set up our alignment settings yet. We will be able to camber this in, and we've got that new steering rack. So there's a whole bunch of setup that needs to be done to make this fit perfect, but the rear looks ideal with that 18x8 plus 40 setup, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be able to match it up front here. So as always, you guys post in the comments, did we go a little too soft? Did we not go aggressive enough with this wheel setup? Should we have lifted this thing and put like 15s with big mutters on it? Let us know.
Our plan was for the next shot to be of us strapping this down to the dyno and showing you guys what kind of power this K-swap makes, but that is not going to happen this episode because we have reached an impasse with this axle angle issue where the axle is hitting on this lower fork. And just to briefly explain to you why that's happening, Brian at Hasport did make a last minute revision to these mounts and changed the tilt angle of the engine, and that moved the location on the gearbox for the axle to pop into forward, and thus we are now hitting on this fork here. So we've spoken to Brian about it. He's aware of where the problem stems from. So now the question is, how do we solve this problem? And the most popular solution, of course, is to go to a DC2 or EG subframe, but that involves a lot of work. A bunch of things don't fit. The steering is a challenge. There's just, it's quite a rabbit hole to go down. So we're not super keen on that solution. So we're talking with Brian about other ways to solve this problem, maybe reverting to the previous iteration of these mounts, but then you start to run into clearance issues on the CRV subframe. So this is a very tricky one, guys. And we do have one other idea for how to solve this. We'll let you guys comment below if you think you know what that idea is. We're not gonna give that away right here because we're not sure if we wanna go down that rabbit hole, but we will solve this problem. We will figure it out. We will get this thing on the dyno. We'll make some power. We will show you the AC working and all of that. So that is to come, but there may be a bit of pause between now and then. There might be some other episodes happening because this could take us some time to figure out. So thank you for your patience and thank you for your support on this CRV. You guys have really liked this, as have we. So we're excited to get it up and running for you. Believe me, we're not giving up on it, but stay tuned because you will see this running and driving on the street and on the dyno soon enough.